the copy on our homepage to say, not to say like, this is Airbrake and this is what we do, but to say no more log files. Like specifically say, this is the pain point we're addressing. We saw like an increase in conversion on the order of like 15%. That's amazing. Super happy with that win. When we rolled that out across our other products, where we said, okay, cool, it seems like this problem-oriented copy works really well for our audience. Let's test it across our other products. We saw an aggregate of like a 75% improvement in the number of people that hit our website and then click through to start a trial. That, since we could replicate it across products, made that simple headline test one of the best things that we did as a company, which is just crazy. So you come up, basically, you rank all these tests, you think like, here are the things that I want to do, here are the things I want to improve. How easy are they to test? And are they replicable across our products? So conversion hacking in practice, I'm going to talk to you guys about Exceptional. So Exceptional, developer tools, SaaS company, my last company, we had an issue. So we were a developer tools company. We bought two, unlike a lot of startups where it's like, you know, the founders like hacking away in their garage, maybe going through an incubator, doing whatever. We actually bought two side projects. Like we knew some developers and a consultancy, bought their products off of them, and then tried to turn it into a business. As a result of the fact that we didn't start the business, we kind of bought the products, we had conversion rates when we came on of roughly 30%, or activation rates of roughly 30%. That meant that 7 out of 10 people who clicked on an ad, came to our website, thought we had a good offering, signed up, 7 out of 10 people that did all of those things never actually used the app, which is just absurd. So we had a big problem. We needed to figure out how to improve our activation rate. So we went through a process. It was a 5-step process, which I'm going to dive into now, which really, really helped us turn around and improve this one metric that was so key, is so key to our business. So I'm going to go into detail on this, and then we'll open it up for questions afterwards. Step 1, set up tracking. I know Matt gave a talk earlier around tracking and Mixpanel and stuff. Do it. You cannot have any idea how critical or like what's going on in your application if you're not tracking it. I highly recommend using something like Keen.io or a Mixpanel, Kissmetrics, just to see, you know, okay, of the users that sign up, where are they dropping off in the funnel? What are their next steps? The next thing you want to do is determine your key metrics. These key metrics are going to be unique to your business. For us, we did a bunch of research. Like we took a couple weeks and we said, okay, we want to figure out who are our most valuable customers. What do they look like once they sign up? What do they do within the first day, 3 days, 7 days, 30 days of signing up for our app? And then what is their profile? And we found after going through this process that the users, the customers that were best for us that were active, that were engaged, that ended up paying us a lot, that got a ton of value out of the product. The people that were best were ones that within a week, they signed up, they deployed Airbrake in their app, and then they tracked their first error and marked it resolved in their dashboard. Very, very product specific, but that was our key metric. This is a quote from Josh Ellman. He was formerly product at Twitter. He said, you know, they did a similar research project for their users. They found that if someone signed up for Twitter and within a couple days followed at least 30 people, they were way more active to stay engaged. Facebook has a similar number with their like 7 friends thing where someone signs up for Facebook. If they have 7 friends, they are way more likely to stay an engaged Facebook user for a long period of time. So is this making sense, everyone? We're good? Still good? Awesome. Cool. You're still with me. I love it. So yeah, so this is going to be very specific to your product. If you have an e-commerce store, it might be someone that signs up for your email list and then buys a product within 7 days. For some SaaS app like ours, it could be someone like installing and then sending the app to a friend or getting the unique value out of it, whatever it is. I highly, highly recommend, though, structuring your key engagement metric around the key thing, the one or two things that your product does better than anyone else. For us at Airbrake, we knew we were the best error tracking application for developers. Developers loved us. We thought our product was awesome. We used it ourselves. And so for us, the key factor, the key metric that we used was people getting value out of the product. People signing up and within a week getting the key value out of the product, which was tracking their errors and marking them as resolved in their dashboard. The next step is you want to map your ideal customer flow. What does this mean? So in your dream world, like what would every customer who came to your website or signed up for your product, what would they end up doing? For us, in our dream scenario, they would come to the product, they would sign up, they would tell us their programming language, they would install and then deploy the Airbrake notifier, capture their first error, and mark that error as resolved in their dashboard, as I talked about. For other of you, if you could have every customer that came to your site and signed up do something, what would that be? Would it be sign up, pay you, buy something, and then refer a friend? Would it be follow 30 people on Twitter and then start tweeting? What is this ideal customer roadmap? What does this ideal customer flow look like? Think about that. Because what you want to do is you want to have this process, this idealized customer workflow mapped out, so then you can start measuring. In our case, we had these 5 things. We wanted every customer to do these 5 things. And then we started tracking, step 1, where are people falling off in this funnel? Someone signs up. How many of them then tell us their programming language? How many people then install and deploy? And so on and so forth. For you all, figuring out what these numbers are and where people are falling off in the funnel is going to be so, so key to having a really good onboarding and customer experience. For us, we found that a lot of people were falling off in step 3. That roughly 50% of the people that came from this platform called Heroku, it's a developer platform, 50% of the people that came from this platform would cancel within the first week of signing up for a product. You're like, okay, something is wrong here. Our messaging is working. People are signing up. They're compelled by the product and the vision and everything we're telling them, but we're failing them in some way. So we ran a bunch of tests and did a bunch of research to figure out why people were dropping off at this step, which that brings me to step 4 of this 5-step process. So determine the fall-off points. You want to figure out where customers, where users are falling off when it comes to using your application. This is an example funnel of a product called Bingo Card Creator. It's like a product for teachers that make bingo cards. That's probably not super useful, but the guy that runs it is very, very open with all of his data. So in his ideal world, every single customer that signs up for Bingo Card Creator, they go to the dashboard, they create a list, they customize it, they schedule the printing of the bingo cards, and then they download the bingo cards. You can see what percentage of people end up completing all of these steps. For him, 82% is the lowest drop-off, and it's earlier in the funnel, which means that more people fail to do that than later on down the line. So the creating lists to customizing it is probably a really good candidate for a step that he could focus on to try and improve. Sorry about that. So for us, when we were doing this, we identified step 3. This is the thing that we want to change. If we could change anything in our business, if we could improve this number by just a couple percentage points, that was going to be worth tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars to us in revenue over the next 3 to 6 months. So what did we do? This is where a lot of people would say A/B testing. Like, just like throw A/B tests at this problem and see what happens, hope something works. I think that's actually misguided in some ways when you're so early in trying to figure out like why people are not completing a step. For us, we did do we tried A/B testing. Like, we saw something would convert slightly better than something else, but with such a gaping hole in our funnel, like 50% of people dropping out of this step, like, we needed something more. We needed a big win in this area. And so what we did is research project, essentially. So we called people. We set up surveys. Like, everyone who told us their programming language and didn't install and deploy Airbrake, we had a survey. We sent them an email. We sent them, we called them, and just, people, surprisingly, I don't know how you all feel about this, but people actually like talking to companies that approach them in a helpful, friendly kind of way. GoDaddy is a terrible exception to this. Like, I hate that company. They're the only company that calls me where I'm like, oh, fuck these guys. But everyone else, every person that we called except for like one guy was like very happy to hear from us, because we're coming at them from a standpoint of, you signed up for the product. We know you have this problem. We know that you wanted to solve, you were hoping that we would help you solve this problem, and yet we didn't do our jobs. We didn't help you solve it. How can we be better? Very compelling pitch. So many people helped us out with that. So we found that after talking to people, after running these surveys, after sending these emails, after talking to them on the phone, we found that a lot of people got confused after they told us their programming language. So, they would say, like, I'm a PHP developer. This is the framework I'm using. I can't, and then we would kick them to a GitHub page, which is like not on our domain, and have them, they'd go to this, so imagine this sign-up flow. They'd leave our site, go to a GitHub page. They'd have to download a file, make sure that it works on their computer, install it into their product, then re-upload it, and then come back to Airbrake and tell us, like, we did it. No wonder so many people were dropping out on this step. Like, super confusing, multiple steps. It was just not a good user experience. And so what we did is we changed it. Like, once you told us what programming language, now when you go to Airbrake, you tell us what programming language you use, and we provide the code snippet right there. We can say, email this to your developer and let us know when this has been installed. And we saw activation rates go way, way, way up. To give you an idea, when we started this research project, when we started going about improving our activation rate, like I said, we were at 30%. When we finished this like 30-day, let's improve our activation kind of sprint, we were at like 72% activation, more than doubled that number. For us as a business, this was before the acquisition, like that meant materially hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue to our business. Like, that was a game changer in terms of hiring new people, doing new ad spend, trying new campaigns. We hired another sales guy. Like, just total game changer for the business. So once you have these fall-off points, you are starting to figure out, okay, why are people dropping out of my funnel? What are the reasons? Like, there are reasons behind these things. What are they? And then once you know the reasons, that's when you start testing and trying to improve these different steps where people are falling off. You know the reasons, and then you want to create different test hypotheses and say, okay, people are getting confused because they don't know what framework, what language to download, what code snippet, how to install it. How can we test this? That's where we went into a pretty rigorous process of testing and trying to improve this rate. So for us, that meant we tested a bunch of things. We tested sending people a t-shirt, like when you deployed our application, we sent you an email where we're like, hey, if you deploy this application in the next 7 days, we will send you a t-shirt. And you would be amazed at how many engineers, how many developers who make $100,000 a year will drop everything they're doing and go employ your app to get like a free $4 t-shirt. It blew my mind, but it worked. We did that. For companies that were like enterprise-ish accounts, we had a couple people, like one really big startup that has been valued in like the billions of dollars, they came to us, they signed up for the product, and we saw after 20 days they weren't using us. They were one of those users that got away. Like, you installed, signed up, never ended up using the product. So what we did is we tested for enterprise accounts. We sent them literally an Amazon gift card. We were like, hey, here's 50 bucks. If you have 10 minutes, let's hop on the phone this week and figure out what's confusing or why you're not using the product. We got 100% response rate. Everyone who we sent a free $50 Amazon gift card to was like, yeah, I'll talk to you for 10 minutes. You just gave me 50 bucks. That's amazing. So, and for all of those, not only did they hop on the phone with us, but we then were able to see, like what's confusing, what's not working, and fix it. So for this startup, sent them a $50 Amazon gift card and paid for it out of pocket. And then they came back and like within 10 days, they were paying us like $1,000 a month. That was our most expensive plan. We made that back like in seconds. So other tests that we've run, we've tested calling people within 5 minutes of signing up. Someone signs up, they get a phone call a couple seconds later. Hey, this is Justin from AirBreak. Why did you sign up? How can I help? What are you trying to accomplish? That worked really well. Like, we were actually able to see, this person has this problem. In one case, we had someone within Oracle sign up. They're like, yeah, I'm just kicking the tires, trying to see what I think about the product, and then decide if we want to roll it out to like 600 people. We were like, oh, that's awesome. We hope you do that. And then we gave him a bunch of love and attention throughout his onboarding cycle to make sure that he, 1, loved the product, 2, loved us, and 3, would roll it out to Oracle at the end of it, which he did. Other tests that we ran, in terms of improving activation rate, one of the best things that we did was we tagged people who had signed up within the last 30 days. So if you came to our site and you signed up, within 30 days, we would give you priority support. We would give you any price breaks you asked for, basically. We pretty much do whatever you wanted. And we found that this was super, super useful in terms of getting people to, 1, love us, 2, tell their friends about us, and 3, sign up and end up paying us at the end of their trial. Other things that are worth testing, but that I won't get too in-depth on, because I still need to cover pricing. Lifecycle emails are amazing. I'm sure you guys have heard of them. People have talked about them. But basically, someone signs up for your product, and over the next 30 days, 20 days, 14 days, whatever, they get a series of emails that's just saying like, hey, here's what we're doing. We saw that you did this step but failed to do this step. Here's how you do the next step. Like, they work really, really well. They're worth their weight in gold. Highly recommend doing them. So that is testing and improving. So that is a 5-step process. I'll review it again at the end. But quickly, I want to talk about, oh no, did I do something? Cool. So now I want to talk about pricing. Pricing is a special case. Do not do this. That is not a promotion. In America, we call that stealing from people or lying. So pricing is a special case where it's one of those things that you can't really test willy-nilly. If someone signs up for your product and then comes back to your pricing page months later and sees like, oh, now you guys are cheaper than what I signed up for. Am I getting ripped off? It's not a good feeling. It doesn't really make your customers happy to see them like they're paying more for something that other people are getting for less. So testing, pricing, and figuring out your optimal price is hard. That's not me. I could totally press that for the record. So pricing is hard. We made a ton of pricing changes at AirBreak. We started with, when we bought the product, we were charging $2 a month, which is just absurd. Like, don't ever charge $2 a month. Someone sends one email, like one support email, and you have literally made them an unprofitable customer for life. Like, it's not even worth it. You pay like 30 cents per credit card transaction. It just doesn't make sense. Don't do it. If any of you are charging $2 a month for your product, like, I won't punch you, but I'll kind of want to. So please change that. So we started with that. We then had 9 different pricing tiers that were confusing people. You would go to our site and like you would see 3 different pricing tiers. Their little link, or sorry, 4 different pricing tiers with a little hidden link, like a little orange HTML link in the bottom right-hand corner that was like, check out our startup plans. You'd click on that, And then you would see 4 other plans. And then in the bottom right, in the same spot with that link, there was a free plan. Like, just confused the heck out of everyone. No one understood what was going on. And it converted really badly, like, worst of all. So finally, after going through another like 30-day conversion sprint, we settled on 3 plans that boosted our revenue by more than 30%. Massive change. Again, these sorts of conversion like optimizations and everything are so amazing because that didn't require any extra money. Like, we didn't spend more on anything. We didn't hire more people. It was just money that went directly to our profitability and our revenue. So how did we do that? So 1, the first thing that we did is we tested pricing using Optimizely. We uploaded and said basically for all of our website visitors that have been to the site before, exclude these people from the test. Everyone else that has never been to our website, they got to see a different number of different prices that we were experimenting with. Like, we experimented with a higher tier, we experimented with a lower tier, we experimented with things in between, we experimented with like six pricing plans versus 3 versus 1 versus like free trial upsell, all these kinds of things. And we found that across the board, these 3 pricing tiers ended up working. People converted better, they were happier, and they stayed with us longer. So another way that you can test pricing, email customers. We took all of our customers that were paying less than $39 a month, and we sent them an email. We said, you know, hey, we are doing this new pricing. We're rolling out new pricing with new features and stuff. Like, what would you be interested in? This is what we're doing. Here's our value prop. Sign up. We tested different prices in the emails that we sent to people. So some group of customers, they got a, hey, you're on a $7 a month plan. We're now rolling out a $50 a month plan with all these amazing things. Like, do you want to sign up? Some of them got a, hey, you're on a $7 a month plan, rolling out new plans for $29 a month. Do you want to sign up? And across these, we saw that one of these plans had a much higher conversion rate than the others, which we obviously weighted in making our decision around what plans to go with. The last thing that we did, and this is something I've never heard of anyone talk about doing this, so this is one of the secrets that I'm letting you guys in on, is we downloaded the source code for our pricing page for basically our entire website. We changed the name. We bought a fake domain name, not fake, it was a real domain name, but made up a new product identity for it. And then spent like $20 for someone to pull together a logo that looked like a product that was competitive to ours. And so we sent people to this new landing page that was our company, but like didn't have any of our branding, didn't have any of our names on it. To everyone's eyes, it was like a competitive product in the same space. And then we drove ads to this landing page and saw, okay, for people that don't know who Airbrake is, who want to solve this problem of exception and error tracking, what will they pay? Like, they click on an ad, they come across a product they've never seen. What will they actually pay to solve this problem? And that was one of the best things that we did because we saw that people were actually happy to pay way more than we thought when they didn't have our super shitty, confusing, really low pricing to anchor them and think like, oh, this isn't actually a useful solution. So that was amazing. So in conclusion, I want to open this up for questions. That is like our conversion hacking process. That's what we did around pricing. In conclusion, you want to, if thinking about like a certain thing you want to improve, certain metric you want to improve, you want to measure, figure out your key metrics, map out your ideal customer flow, determine the fall-off points, and then test and improve to figure out how to get more people through your funnel and get them to, through these fall-off points. So thanks, guys, for watching. If you want, bit.ly.com/JustinCRO. I will send you guys my slides. You just enter your email, and I'll shoot them to you. And then last thing, the book that I co-authored, Traction Book, the first 3 chapters you can check out for free at tractionbook.com. Would love your thoughts. And that is my pitch. Thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate the attention. Questions? Questions? There we go. Yeah, too. Oh, we're doing Mike? Can he just yell? I'll repeat it if you want to yell at me. How do you do A/B testing in mobile? Yeah, so Optimizely has toolkits for this. There are different Google libraries that you can use. It's definitely harder, but there's a tool called Segment.io that you can use and basically install it. And they allow you to like toggle certain features and apps on and off really easily. But to be honest, it's like a really hard problem that a lot of companies are working on. But there's like companies like WatchSend, I think is one. There's at least 2 or 3 out of Y Combinator that would be worth looking at that do this type of stuff. But it's definitely a hard problem for now. Most of my experience is not mobile, so I don't have like the world's best answer for that.
Two quick questions.
2 of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
One, you said a good way of increasing engagement was call them like 5 minutes after they signed up.
Yeah.
So how did you get people giving you their mobile phones? Or like
we asked for it. We made it a requirement for that week. Like everyone who signed up had to give us their telephone number, and then we called them.
And did that?
It had a tiny negative effect, but I mean, to be honest, we were selling to business customers with a software product that was very critical. Like, if you don't want to give out a phone number for something that is going to save you hours of development time and make sure that you don't, like, your product doesn't crash and burn, you're not going to be a great customer anyway, you know?
Okay. About this last cool trick of a fake competitive company landing page thing,
yeah.
what did you do if people actually click on this price and want to buy that stuff?
What did we what?
Like so if people say, okay, I like this product and click on buy, what would you do?
Yeah, so we just captured their email address. So we said, you know, hey, it's like very standard like startup MVP type stuff where you have a landing page, you drive people to it, and then you say, oh, product's not ready yet, like give us your email and we'll let you know when we launch. It was more for us just like wanted to see how many people would respond to that. So it was less, we cared less about the information and more about what were people clicking on, you know?
Okay, but this is about the fake thing, right? The fake landing page.
Yeah, so we just asked for the email addresses. Other questions? I want at least one more. Somebody. Yeah, there you go. My man. Yeah, I'll repeat it.
If your flow is kind of optimized and for a company, then the next step is just do you stop actually? You see what I mean?
Great question. So he asks, is there a limit to optimization? The answer is, on one hand, yes, and the other, no. So yes, there is a limit in that if you, like at a certain point, if you only have the same stream of customers coming in and you've kind of optimized your flow and you're like 90, 95% for like every metric you could potentially care about, I would call that a limit. Like, there are probably other higher leverage things you can do. That said, I've never seen a company that's like, yeah, you know, all of our metrics are like perfect and I don't really know what to optimize on next. The other thing though is that as a company grows, at least, you know, from everything I've seen, and this was certainly our experience, you kind of move from a different customer base than when you were like, your first 100 customers are likely a little different than like your 10,000th customer. And so for us, you know, as we got more traction, as we like grew rapidly, we saw a bunch more enterprise customers coming in. And the process of optimizing for an enterprise customer as opposed to a single developer was a totally different ballgame. And so we had this incredible like optimized flow that all these individual developers would get through and then they'd pay us nothing. And then when we switched around and got more enterprise interest, we had to totally change the way that we did business and like the things that we optimized. And so I think that your flows will just change over time. Yeah, so I don't really think there's a limit unless you're like literally don't have anything else to do. But I've never seen that happen, I'll say that. Anything else? Cool. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's the point.